What's going on, guys? Jake Peffer here. Welcome back to Jake's Cinema Room. I'm back with another movie review for you. Today I will be concluding my rewatch of the first three Jeepers Creepers movies with the third film in the franchise, Jeepers Creepers Part 3. Just like the other reviews that I did for the other two movies, I want to go ahead and put it out there that this will have some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, you may want to check it out before listening to the review. If you don't care, then continue on listening. I also will not be discussing any of the criminal past of director/writer Victor Salva. So let's get on with the review. So yeah, with Part 3, this is a movie that took quite a while to get made. Originally, Victor Salva wanted to make it shortly after the first two movies in the franchise, which came out in 2001 and 2003. This one was slated at one point to come out. Production was actually going on, or was about to go on in 2005, and then I believe it was set to release in 2007 or 2008 at one point, but then the studio just canned the entire idea, and it took a lot longer for Victor Salva to get this movie made. And honestly, I wish we would have got that original movie versus what we got here. Originally, what he wanted to do involved the character Trish, who was played by Gina Phillips in the first film, and it was basically her kind of picking up and going after the creeper. I can't remember if it's set 23 years after the events of the first one, or if it takes place shortly thereafter those events. Either way, it sounded like a much better movie than what we got here. With this one, Gina Phillips does make an appearance, but we'll get to that in a minute. This one does take place just a day or two. Actually, it picks up right after the events of the first movie and then continues on for the next couple days, where we have the sheriff of the town, who's played by Stan Shaw, who I know from the Monster Squad, but he's popped up in many things over the years. He enlists a team to go out and basically take down the creeper once and for all. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to this movie, honestly. You get a lot of subplots with characters that no one on earth could ever care about. And you do get a couple of returning characters from the other movies. Obviously, Jonathan Breck does reprise his role as the creeper, which is probably the best aspect of this movie. It's nice to have him back after his performances in the first and second movie. He's at least trying to do something with the role. Unfortunately, there's just not much here overall, and it's just kind of a waste of his talents. You do also get Brandon Smith back as Sergeant Davis Tubbs, who appeared in the first movie toward the end when they eventually get to the police station. And he's fine here. There's just not much for him to do, kind of like in that first movie. Once he eventually shows up, he doesn't really get a whole lot to do. Basically the same thing here. And then, like I did say, you do get Gina Phillips back with a little bit of narration, and then it shows where she is basically saying, "Hey, creeper, I'm ready for you," 23 years after the events of this movie. And it's just like, man, if you were going to get her in the first place, why not just get her and revolve the movie around her character? It makes no sense to even have her make this cameo. When you have her, you should have just utilized her throughout the entire thing, and it would have been so much better, because what we get here is just a garbage product. It is terrible. The fact that this took 14 years to come out after the second movie, and this is what we got, you've got to be kidding me. There is nothing redeemable about this movie at all, short of, like I said, Jonathan Breck is trying, and I do actually like Stan Shaw as the sheriff. That guy, he does appear in a lot of hit or miss movies throughout his career, but he at least brings it in his roles for the most part. And here he's trying with what he's got, but it's a terrible script, terrible direction. There's nothing here that's really memorable or redeemable. Just like in the second movie where I talked about, you have all the high schoolers on the bus, and most of them just aren't very memorable. Essentially every performance in there is forgettable. Good God, those kids are Godfather level compared to the people we get in this movie. The people in this movie, some of them I will give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like I said, it's a bad script, but man, terrible performances, and more so, it's just terrible writing of characters. Like, there's just nothing for these actors to do, and it's unfortunate because this could have been a good movie, and we get left with garbage. That's the only way I can put it. Even down to the effects and stuff, like the makeup on the creeper this time around, I think still looks pretty decent. There's some shots here or there that don't really work all that well. And the fact that this movie takes place essentially all in the daylight doesn't help either, because it kind of shows some of the inconsistencies that there are in his appearance. But nonetheless, it still comes off as pretty decent. But you get a lot of terrible green screen and terrible effects in this movie, to the point where it's just like, what are y'all doing? I mean, sometimes when you have a limited budget, I get it. There's only so much you can do. But if you've got a limited budget, just don't go for these outlandish car flips and green screen of a guy riding on a dirt bike. Like, oh my God, these scenes they are laughable and sometimes just so cringeworthy that it's to the point where, this is a hard movie to watch, honestly. It took me till this rewatch to actually see it. I had tried to watch it previously a few years ago, actually right around the time I think it came out on Blu-ray. And I guess I got preoccupied with something else and just never got back around to watching it until now. And man, this is without a doubt one to skip for sure. I guess it gets a couple points for tying into the first one, and then it ties into the second one randomly at the end of this one because it takes place a few days before the events of the second movie. But you have this character named Buddy who is apparently on that basketball team, and you see him going to get on the bus at the end of this movie, but his character doesn't show up in that second movie. I guess you could argue that he's one of the extra kids on the bus that don't have a name or any lines, but it's just like, come on, man, really? Are you going that route? You got to tie it in so you got to tie it in like that just to prove a point. Like, oh, don't worry, it definitely ties into that second movie. You'll see, watch. It's just unnecessary, and that's this movie in a nutshell. It's unnecessary. I wish it could have been better. Like I said, if maybe they would have went with that original script and actually made it back in the late 2000s, it could have been something. But what we get here is just not worth your time at all. Overall, I would probably give this a 2 out of 10. That's maybe being a little generous because, like I said, I do like Stan Shaw. I do like Jonathan Breck, even Brandon Smith to a degree. I like a few of the people in this movie. Meg Foster is a character, plays a role in this. She's been in a ton of stuff, but just, the characters, they're just poorly written. The CGI is bad. The green screen is terrible. And it's just not worth your time. Just skip this one, please. I am hoping that this new Jeepers Creepers Reborn is closer to the first two and not close to this. But honestly, after seeing that trailer and from what I'm hearing from the early buzz, it's probably closer to this third one. And that scares me more so than any of these movies scared me when I was growing up. But yeah, that's about it for me, guys. If you have seen Jeepers Creepers 3, please let me know what you thought about it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more reviews in the future. I'll leave all my links down in the description where you can read some of my other reviews and all the places you can follow me. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you all later.